Okay, for this tutorial, let's find the real case from Upwork. And I think we can see that the top one is actually quite interesting, which is the voice AI agent for automating client communication. So we are seeking a skilled professional to develop voice AI agent that can automate client communication effectively. So the ideal candidate is experienced in using voice recognition technology and natural language processing. Okay, that sounds quite reasonable, and I think the price is actually quite cheap, which is actually fine. It's only $100. All right, I think ElevenLabs is the best tool for this job because ElevenLabs you can actually create like an AI agent that you can speak to, and you can also um, record your own voice and then use that as the base for the AI agent. And the most beautiful thing about ElevenLabs for this particular case is that we can integrate that with anything, and we can just basically load the ElevenLabs API on n8n, or we can use webhook. Now, because based on the previous video that we saw, we they didn't really specify the requirements for this particular kind of a work. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit more. I'm just gonna improvise by making it a little bit more specific, like AI agent of a project management assistant, for instance, where the process is I'm gonna talk to ElevenLabs and then send the JSON data through the webhook, and then the AI agent then using OpenAI GPT model 4.0 because it's just faster and cheaper as well. Process the request from the user, and then load the data from the database about the projects, for instance, and then the available resource. Then it will give the output and then send it back to the ElevenLabs agent. Okay, let's go to the ElevenLabs and click the agent. And I think I'm just going to create a new one with the blank kind of a template. Oh, there you go. It's right there. Right. So the first thing I would like to do is to choose the language, which is in this case is going to be English. And then the second one is going to be the voice. I'm going to choose my voice in this case, right? So let's test that.
Whales sing their deep songs across the vast oceans.
It does sound like me, doesn't it? It's just the accent that's a bit different. Okay, I'm gonna save this and let's go to the workflow. Oops. Ooh, this is really cool. It's got the workflow as well. I didn't know that. Okay, anyway, it's not really support agent, right? I think okay. So I'm just gonna create. So the first message is when you test the AI agent, this is gonna be the first message that they're gonna ask you, right? So I think I'm just gonna make it simple by saying hello. How can I help you? Okay, and the second one is the system prompt. This is essentially the um, personality of your AI agent. So I think I would start by saying you are the helpful project management assistant. You will receive the user's request or questions, then you will pass them to n8n, and you do not attempt to answer the questions or requests unless okay and let the n and n gives you the answer. Okay, right. Okay, I think it's good enough. Don't forget to save. The other one is we need to add tool. Well, I've got n8n already, but I think I'm just gonna add a new one. I'm gonna call it n8n PM agent. Yeah, it's gonna be post. Let's go back to the n8n. I'm gonna click this one, and I'm gonna pick. So for the sake of this experiment, we're just gonna be using the test URL, and later on we can go to the production URL where we do not need to use the test here. The reason why we're doing this because we want to see the flow. Right, I'm just gonna do it this way. 20 seconds is fine, and I think it's gonna be a request. Okay. I'm gonna make it this way, and this has to be consistent with the n8n, right? If I click this AI agent, and yeah, there you go. Otherwise, it's just gonna get confused. And okay, and I'm gonna add another one again. This one is a little bit more specific to the chat history. So, but for the sake of experiment, to make it a little bit easy, I'm just gonna pick constant value. Go, and this one is gonna be chat ID. Now, okay, is that it? Okay. Okay. Oops. Right. Let's add the tool. Okay. So before that, I think a little bit of context would be helpful, right? So the chat ID here, it's actually for this one. This is essentially the memory of the AI agent to keep the conversation flowing, right? And when we send the data from ElevenLabs through the webhook, what I want is I want the requests or questions from the users, and then the ID to tell that this is actually the sequence of the conversation. So if I continue to have a talk about or have a request that is related to the previous one, then it can basically refer to the previous requests or questions, right? That's why we have this memory. Otherwise, the system is just gonna forget and then treat it as like new request or new question. We don't want that, essentially. Ideally, right, what we want is different users have a different kind of a chat ID so that it will only respond the sequence of that particular user and doesn't really want to kind of bring the new requests or questions or conversations with a new user. But for the sake of experiment, I'm just gonna make it fixed. As long as the conversations and requests are going, I think I'm happy enough. Okay, right, I think it's good enough. Let's give it a go. Okay, let's try it then. Don't forget to execute the workflow because we need to make sure that the program is running. And this is the AI agent from ElevenLabs. I think I'm just gonna pull it down and make it like make it a bit smaller. I don't know what happened here. Okay, I'm gonna test the AI agent, and I'm gonna call the AI agent then.
Hello, how can I help you?
Hi, can you help me with the information of the existing projects, please? And also if anyone is assigned to the projects, maybe?
Sure, I can help with that. Could you please provide the project names or any other details you have about the projects you're interested in?
That's the thing. I don't actually remember. That's why I'm asking you for help.
Okay, I understand. I will need to ask n8n to get the project information for you. Is that okay?
That'd be great. Thank you.
Here is the information about the existing projects, along with any team member assignments. Existing projects: 1. Automav, description, an AI assistant that can manage projects by arranging meetings, accessing project and team members' common Google Drive files, suggesting actions for certain projects, and writing task lists to Trello. Proposed budget £5,000. 2. Lean Biz Coach, description, an AI assistant that can suggest actions to take based on lean startup methodology to ensure product market fit. Proposed budget £10,000. 3.
All right, I think I hear enough. Yeah, okay, there you go. So it's working. So I think a little bit of a context here, right? So what's happening is we essentially send the requests through ElevenLabs, and ElevenLabs send JSON data to the webhook via a post, and what they send are actually a lot of parameters. But then again, two of those were actually defined by us earlier, right? And then I pass this parameter essentially from the webhook to the AI agent, so that the agent can do some processing. And for the chat ID, I post it directly to this one, because we want to ensure that the conversation is actually flowing if we do this multiple times. Okay. So, and about the information of project by itself, I ensure that the AI agent doesn't really get the information from the GPT model, but instead it gets the information specifically from the projects that I wrote down on the document somewhere in the Google Doc, right? And then that information itself is stored onto the database, and in this case, it's Supabase database. Then the AI agent can get the access to it, right? So the access to the database is gonna be another time. So thank you very much.